Hi everybody, I'm Shonda Miles. I just want to talk to you about storytelling. When I started this journey of entrepreneurship and over the years, I didn't realize how important storytelling was. I didn't realize how much it matters and how you can draw people in with story, how much we connect through story. Until I started, I don't know, I think I saw a video of something about storytelling, and I noticed with the training that I had been going through, that probably 5 years now, how meaningful the storytelling is, and how you can remember more if people tie it into a story. So if you tie facts or statistics into a story, it makes it easier to remember. And so I've been studying storytelling. It has been a roller coaster, right? Because there's so many questions to answer. There's so many things that you're trying to figure out. What story do I tell? What point am I making? Because you can't tell a story without making a point. You can't make a point without telling the story. And so that's what I've been hearing over and over again. And the more I hear it, the more I realize how true it is. And so when you're thinking about storytelling, you're thinking about, okay, what's the beginning, middle, and end? What story do I tell? How do I have impact? When do I go up in volume? When do I go lower in volume? How do I, really show how meaningful the story is? How much do I tell? How much do I not tell? Are there places where I can move the story, change the order of the story? There's just so many things that you have to consider when you're telling the story. And so everybody wants to know, how do I tell the right story? How do I know if it's the right story? How do I know how much to tell? People want to be authentic without being, sharing too much personal information. And so I've been reading about stories. I've been, talking about stories. I've been telling stories, just trying to get in the groove, trying to get the perfect story, trying to get stories that really are meaningful, that have impact, that can help people change their lives, change the way they think, and improve, and inspire, motivate. And so it's a daily thing, So when I first read Story Worthy, Matthew Dix is the author, and he talks about homework for life. And so I believe this wholeheartedly. I've heard different authors say, call it something different, but it is every day you're looking at your day and you're trying to evaluate. You're looking at your day and you're looking to see, okay, is there a story here? Is there something I want to capture? Is something that might be useful later? And so you're capturing these events, things that happen, so that you can possibly use it as a story, tell a story later through it. And so I think that's so important, that every single day that we are capturing things that are happening, that we can tell a story about, that we can, use to prove a point or to emphasize a point with later. But it's the everyday, doing it every single day. And he recommends a spreadsheet. And so I think that a spreadsheet is great. You can journal it first, however you want to do it. But I do think that it's important that you capture stories every single day. I think story ideas is something that you want to capture as well. Just some things that you might be. And so I always look at it like, okay, what's the thing? What kind of themes am I looking for to tell a story through? So is it faith? Is it love? Is it, team building or teamwork? So you got to have some themes first. So what is it that you want to talk about? What stories do you need around what points? And so if you know the themes, and you can kind of start to put together stories, you can sit down and look at your personal life and then your your professional life, and then you kind of see where in your personal life and your professional life, things that stand out, things that really were a pivotal moment in your life. You're starting to look at those things and say, okay, what point does this make? What point can I make? Why do I want to share this? Is something about this that I think would help somebody else? And then what's kind of the theme or the point of it? And then on the flip side, you can say, okay, these are my themes that I want to capture stories to fit into these buckets, if you will. And so you might have 6 themes, and you say, okay, every time you get a story, do they fit into these buckets, or is it like a miscellaneous bucket? But you want to have some themes that you're thinking about as you do your homework for life. You want to start looking at, okay, these things that happen during the day that are memorable or strike you as something that might be interesting or impactful that, you're thinking, okay, maybe I want to share that. Maybe that will help somebody else. Maybe that'll inspire somebody else. So think about this as you kind of go on your journey to tell more stories, greater, better stories is, what are your themes? What are your 6 buckets, your themes that you want to create or you want to tell stories around. And then every day do your homework for life. And you're just looking at my 6 themes. Okay, did anything happen to me today that would fit into one of these buckets? Or is anything that happened to me today that I want to share that could be encouraging, motivating, uplifting, educational, informational, that would help somebody else change their lives or live better lives? So just some things to be thinking about as far as, your storytelling is jot down the ideas, jot down what is it that was important, what stuck out to you, and then look at the pivotal moments in your life, things that really, changed you or shaped you. There's probably a theme that you talk about that those stories fit into already. So just some things to be thinking about as far as storytelling, but storytelling is super important. I almost would say that it is a competitive advantage because most people shy away from the stories. They want to just give you the hard facts and then they want you to make a decision. But if you can weave stories in and you can sell your ideas, you can do a lot of different things if you are a great storyteller. And it just comes with practice, right? It's not, most of us will not tell a story and it'd be great the first time. We'll just keep practicing, tweaking. We'll kind of see where it drops off or where it kind of fails or where it didn't get the point across. You'll experiment with different ways to tell it. And then, of course, the different audiences. We have different audiences or personas, if you will, people that we are in our target market or in several target markets that we'll tweak the story. We'll tell it a little bit different in a different way, depending on who we're talking to. So just some things to be thinking about as you develop your stories.